This afternoon, I felt like I was having deja vu because I swear, and I know that we just talked about this, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. When you're in the business of television, when you're in the business of entertaining people, grabbing people's attention, one of the most important things you have to do is stand out. One of the many reasons CNN has become a huge embarrassing failure is because they are trying to emulate MSNBC. That dog won't hunt. That strategy does not work. The duplicate is never better than the original. No one can wear a wig better than Joy Reid. No one in cable news can out-nerd the super nerd Chris Hayes. Don's Lemonade, it just doesn't pack the same punch as Morning Joe. For the longest time, it seemed like Shay Shay and Skippy Bebe were trying to out-woke ESPN. Shay Shay was proudly flying the flag of mythical racism. Bebe was constantly apologizing for his white privilege. Shay Shay Sharpe trying to become Stephen A. Smith. He would go on these loud rants, screaming at the top of his lungs about the victim status of himself and his people. Yeah. An NFL Hall of Famer, a multi-millionaire, is somehow the victim of mythical racism. It didn't matter how loud Shay Shay screamed. And believe me, some mornings he was screaming so loud, you'd have thought the cucumber was inserted an inch too far. But it didn't matter how loud Shay Shay screamed. You were not going to out-woke take. Now, you had to give Shay and Bay an SF for effort. Undisputedly woke, they tried battling woke take in a battle of shitfuckery. Ultimately, though, Stephen A. Smith and his woke brothers at BET came out on top. Over these last several months, Shay and Bay had tried to turn Undisputedly Woke back into Undisputedly Boring. To their credit, their transition has worked. The show is as boring as it's ever been while continuing to pull in low ratings. Instead of crying about mythical racism or apologizing for lacking melanin, Shay and Bay spend 2.5 hours every morning debating sports. And to be honest with you, that is exactly what they're supposed to be doing. But there's two problems here. Very few people are watching, and they rarely generate headlines in the mainstream media. Every week, sometimes multiple times a week, Stephen A. Smith is in the news because of something he said. Love him or hate him, Stephen A. has the unique ability to command attention. Shay and Bay don't have that ability. Skip Bayless has what I like to call go-away heat. It's the same heat LeBron James has, where people are just so disgusted with you, they refuse to watch. Shannon Sharpe was one hell of a football player, but he's like a duplicate of Stephen A. Smith. Why in the hell would I watch Shannon Sharpe, a grown man who for some unknown reason calls himself Shay Shay? Why would I watch him when I can watch the original? Ratings for Undisputedly Woke are undisputedly bad. This time of year, Monday is usually the best day of the week for shows centered around debating sports. Typically, Monday is the most watched show of the week. Last Monday, Woke Take drew over 600,000 viewers. That's a great number. The show typically averages between 400,000 or 500,000. Last Monday on FS1, Undisputedly Woke, 221,000. Last Thursday, Woke Take made the top 10 on cable, 428,000 viewers, 14% of that number falling in the key 18 to 49 demographic. Shay and Bay, 145,000, only 6% in the key demo. Basically, Stephen A. is kicking their ass. Now, when you're toting an ass whipping 5 days every week, when that ass is so sore, no amount of preparation H eases the burn, you do everything you can to make improvements. Shay and Bay are making millions of dollars every year. Now, I don't know the financials, but I find it hard to believe that Undisputed is a profitable show for FS1. When your two hosts are making a combined $9 million every year, drawing less than 200,000 viewers, I don't see how it's possible that Fox is making any money off of this dump. Several years ago, Forbes, they published an article questioning the same thing. They called Skippy Bebe an overpriced failure. Now that, not to be confused with Bomani Jones, the huge embarrassing failure. Bay is simply an overpriced failure. Skip and Shay are signed with Fox through the next 2 years, but it is not outside the realm of possibility that this show could eventually be canceled if ratings don't improve. So, If you can't outwoke ESPN to improve ratings, what can you do? It seems Shay and Bay have chosen to offer their viewers daily catfights between two divas. Last month, they were given the opportunity to have the World Cup as their lead-in on a Monday morning. The World Cup lead-in gave Undisputed record ratings, almost 500,000 viewers. To their credit, Shay and Bay took advantage of this opportunity by orchestrating a catfight about Baker Mayfield. Skippy was vehemently defending his Baker boo while Shay was criticizing him. There was yelling, screaming, hair pulling, gentle spanking. The catfight worked, at least temporarily. For the first time in months, Shay and Bay managed to generate headlines in the mainstream media. Every major media outlet picked up the catfight. Ratings for the show the following morning, almost 300,000 viewers. Now, of course, this spike in ratings didn't last long. Within a week, they were back to hovering around 140,000. But that's okay. That's okay. Shay had a supersized cucumber up his sleeve. He knew which nipple to twist to bait Skippy into another catfight. This morning on Undisputedly Woke, Shay and Bay got into an epic diva duel over Tom Brady. It was two grown men emotionally screaming at each other over another grown man. Shannon Sharpe, his voice got so high at one point, I thought he was transitioning live on television. I thought he was actually transitioning from a man named Shannon into a birthing person named Shay Shay. Watch it for yourself.
Hate. Wait a minute. This is just straight hate by a guy who's jealous that he is still playing at a high level at 45 when you had to stop at 35.
Skip, that's what you do.
That's the point.
That's what you do. Every time I call something into question, I'm jealous.
No.
Skip, I did what I did.
I never said you were jealous of Baker Mayfield.
Skip, I did what I did. You make it seem like I was a bum. I'm in the effing Hall of Fame.
Okay,
I got 3 Super Bowls.
So what?
So what?
He's way better than you were.
I'm better than you.
Better.
Skip, what I got to see what you do. You take personal shots.
No, I don't take personal shots. You started it.
Time out. You would take a personal shot at me.
I didn't take a personal shot at you.
Wait a minute.
What are you talking about?
You would take a personal...
Put your glasses back on.
Can I finish? You're willing to take a personal shot at me to say this man is better than me because I say he's playing bad this year?
Well, because you just
Go ahead.
You disrespect him. It's just so.
You
know what? It's beneath your
dignity. You would disrespect me to support him.
Maybe it's just me, but I would be absolutely embarrassed to be a part of something like this. I would expect to see this level of femininity when I'm overhearing my girlfriend watching The Real Housewives of Tunisia. I know Shay and Bay are emotional dudes, but I just don't understand why they were so overly emotional over Tom fucking Brady. Skip Bayless was in his feelings because Shannon Sharpe said Tom Brady's underperforming this season, which he is. Now, granted, the Bucs have an old roster with a bad head coach, but we're accustomed to seeing Tom Brady overcome anything, overcome all odds. Throughout his career, this dude's been unstoppable. This season, Tom Brady's just unwatchable. Then you have Shay Shay getting offended because his baby said Tom Brady was a better player than he was. Well, first of all, that statement's obviously true. But second of all, why in the hell would anyone get offended over something Skip Bayless says? Bebe is like a wasp at a picnic. You keep swatting the bastard, but he keeps coming back. I thought Shannon Sharpe was going to break down in tears. The catfight last month about Baker Mayfield, that was an orchestrated catfight. Both Shay and Bay acted out their roles to perfection. But what we saw this morning, that was legitimate emotion. Bay hurt Shay's feelings. Ooh, he hurt his feelings. My sources tell me when the show went to commercial break, Shay Sharpe ran directly to his emotional support shovel. He stroked his shovel for minutes as he cried over the emotional abuse he had just endured from his Skippy. Once again, Diva Duel 2 this morning on Undisputedly Woke generated headlines in the mainstream media. They set this up to happen on a Monday morning, the most watched show of the week. Now, we'll find out on Wednesday if they're able to gain another temporary spike in the ratings, but trust me, that's all it will be, a temporary spike. By the end of the week, the show will return to being an overpriced failure. But here's what I want to know. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. It's entirely possible someone has brought this up on ESPN or FS1, but how come no one is talking about the level of quarterback play in the NFL this season? Maybe it's just me, but I have been disappointed with the NFL this year. The last 2 Sundays, I've chosen to watch the Pelicans over NFL Red Zone. That would have never, ever happened in the past. I have watched NFL Red Zone every Sunday since it started in 2009. But I gotta be honest with you, outside of a couple of Sundays here and there this year, I've been bored with the NFL this season. And the reason I have been bored is because the level of play at the quarterback position has been unwatchable. Now, maybe I've been spoiled. I grew up during a 2 or 3 decade period where we saw the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. Manning, Brady, Breeze, Rodgers, Big Ben, prime Russell Wilson in Seattle, Kurt Warner, John Elway, Dan Marino, Troy Aikman. Right now, the quarterbacks in the NFL are absolutely atrocious. We're talking about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts possibly being the MVP of the league. Jalen Hurts? If he were playing 10 years ago, Jalen Hurts would be on the practice squad. Now, that might be a bit of an exaggeration, but you know what I'm saying. Outside of Patrick Mahomes, what other quarterback's playing at an elite level? Josh Allen is struggling again, and I really like Josh Allen. I just like him to be consistent. Russell Wilson, my God. Russell Wilson has regressed into WNBA level dump status. Hell, the entire NFC South division has given us some of the worst quarterback play I have ever seen in all my years watching the NFL. It's made for boring games. Me and one of my friends, we were talking about this the other day. A lot of these NFL games this season have been unwatchable. Look at that Monday Night Football game last week, Saints-Bucks. Absolutely dreadful. The last 5 minutes or so were entertaining, but the other 55 minutes, complete garbage. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I just can't remember a time when I have been this consistently bored watching the NFL on a Sunday afternoon. But give me your thoughts. Shay and Bay participate in Diva Duel 2. Will this improve ratings for Undisputed? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.